Good morning, everyone. My name is Popola Olamide Ibrahim with the student number 230-84226. With me today are my group member in person of Iman Shuma Pandya, MD Rakibul Islam Rabi, and Shashinta Ratnayaka. Today we'll be talking about our case study, which is the problems of Boeing Aerospace. Introduction. I'll go into the introduction. As a result of the 737 MAX disaster, which resulted in damages of more than $20 billion and led to the global grounding of the aircraft, and the research examined the dilemma that Boeing is currently facing. When faced with such a situation, the FAA and EASA include stringent supervision. According to the Reuters 2024, the case brings to light important concerns within leadership and governance, making it an essential component in the process of regaining the trust of stakeholders and general public. Also, I'll be talking about the extent of Boeing's problem. In light of the tremendous repercussion from the 737 MAX disaster, which resulted in the loss of 346 people and caused damages totaling $20 billion, the matter is very important. The FAA self-certification authority was taken away from Boeing, and a number of problems arose with worldwide delivery. There was a considerable decline in the confidence of shareholders. The failures are a reflection of the more fundamental problem that exists inside control and decision making. Furthermore, I'll be talking about the customer issues and challenges. The findings indicate the significant losses in terms of reputation, finances, and regulatory compliances. Both Boeing market shares and the public faith in the company fell precipitously. Eldman's trust score demonstrate that the arm to Boeing brand will be long-lasting. This losses highlights how important it is for Boeing to restructure its culture around safety and openness with a foundation in ethical and strategic management. Also, I will be talking about the stakeholder management. The current dilemma at Boeing is a reflection of the larger global governance concern that exists, in which the pursuit of financial objectives take precedence above ethical duties. The market is led by Airbus, which has a significant part of the industry, while Boeing is struggling with research and development and innovation. Within the context of the current turbulent corporate climate, the case provided great insight into how the leadership, the trust of stakeholders, and the long-term strategy needs to be managed. Also, I'll be talking about the theoretical frameworks to analyze the customer's attributes. The idea of stakeholders demonstrates that Boeing has neglected important players such as the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, pilots, and the general public. After a calamity, crisis theory draws attention to the lack of effective communication. In addition to highlighting the increasing legal scrutiny, the examination of the company also evaluated the internal weakness that existed within the ethical leadership. The framework assisted in the development of analysis and supported suggestions that were evidence-driven and actionable with assistance. Furthermore, my colleague will be talking about the approach to examining the topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Olamid. I'm going talking about the approach to examining the topic. Within the context of the comprehensive case study of Boeing, the subject was tackled. The approach consisted of evaluating the secondary data in order to conduct an in-depth analysis of the factors that lead to be Boeing's failures and the consequence of those failures. The development realistic solution that the focus on leadership transformation is complements via the utilization of current data. In order to do this, a safety culture, participation of stakeholders, and long-term strategic recovery were required. Boeing's leadership and risk governance were both unsuccessful according to a large number of academic and business sources. In addition, FAA audits brought to light the non-compliance. Journal research established a connection between ethical violation and collapse of the organizations. Airbus, on the other hand, implemented meaningful and more stringent supervision after the year 2019. In terms of safety ranking and deliveries, this suspends Boeing's performance. It is for these reasons that Boeing's strategic governance has to undergo immediate transformation. My next slide is Plan future data collection. The passengers are the primary focus of the plan data gathering, which is the intent to derive the current experience within the market, in contrast to the customer interviews, which concentrate on highlighting the broader cultural development surveys and primarily concerned with evaluating changes in public perceptions. A graphic representation of the official validation of Boeing's compliance effort is provided by the analysis of audit reports. Together, the data streams provide the basis for the adjustment in strategy that are the both quantifiable and practicable. I am hearing, sir, my next slide is data use and quality control. The triangulation method, which is included academic theory, industry analytics, and government audits, was used to get verification of the data. Sources created after the year 2020 supported and developed significance. Validation of the comparative finding was achieved by benchmarking with Airbus. The key stakeholders theory, crisis framework, and solution design were all directly influenced by the availability of evidence. Because of this, the story was guaranteed to be relevant, accurate, and actionable from strategic standpoint. I'm going to share my next slide, complexity and limits. It is acknowledged in the study that aviation situation is multifaceted one. By itself, Boeing is unable to control the story or the rules. Results were influenced by a number of factors, including the obligation of the FAA audit, legal actions, and the pressure from the media to disclose results. Iterative, progressive, restricted, and contextualized regulations are the characteristics of the regulatory process. In the context of the global and high-stake environment, there is no solution that guarantees perfection. Um, my colleagues share the next slide, Rakibul.
Thank you, Manshu. Uh, and share my slides. Recognition, uncertainly. In the future, artificial intelligence will be evaluated for ethical reason as well as possible safety issues. When it comes to aviation legislation, legalization, global effectiveness is a barrier to universal changes. Activities that are volatile in terms of developing reputations will be taken into consideration by uh, prominent organizations. There is a possibility that it may retargeted Boeing with backlash at advertisements that brand prioritize the brand. A management plan with a management plan cycle has to include the dynamics of uncertainty in order to be effective in the future. Any interruption in supply chain that occur in the future, which are made worse by the uh, uncertain ties between the United States and China, might slow down the driven to improve governance. There is a potential for fresh brand pressure to be directed on Boeing in the event of any future incident or unwelcome global aviation occurrence, regardless of the location or type of the incident. It's possible that a recession may restrict the amount of financial and investment that are available for safety related technology. My next slide will be about solution for key stakeholder customer. The literature examines the pertinent information for Boeing, which requires an ethical reset. Rigidity and in operation might be installed via TQM, in addition to fostering a culture of proactive behavior where ethical leadership helps builds trust. Airbus has already implemented safety technologies that are based on artificial intelligence and have the potential to minimize the mm, number of errors caused by humans. A more robust interaction with the Federal Aviation Administration, which is FAA, and foreign authorized helps to further assure basic compliance with while preventing any potential grounding in the future. My next slide will be uh, recommended and strategy selection within the framework of governance and stakeholder and engagement system. The paper illustrates the use of artificial intelligence safety system and ethical leadership positions. The EASA data reveals that both predictive AI and AI may reduce the number of occurrences. In order to illustrate the use of governance reform in order to improve stakeholder trust and reparative brand value, the organizational trust index was developed with governance, ethical leadership, and artificial intelligence. The solution may be used as a scalable solution. These solutions are mutually supportive of one another. Artificial intelligence enabled monitoring and has the ability to alter the decision around safety. Ethical training has the potential to alert the ideals of leadership. Transparency is increasing by the use of shared audit models, and leave communication may help brings the uh, expectations of manufacturers and regulatory agency into alignment. It is necessary to make preparations for adoption in order to overcome the self-imposed resource limits and culture of options. My next slide will be talking about restoring the market leadership of Boeing. However, in order for Boeing to restore its position as a leader in the airspace industry, it is necessary for the company to exploit this opportunity within the context of a systematic revolution that is founded on the new thinking about the future. There is new need for a culture shift with an emphasis on ethical control and engineering that is driven by safety. With the FAA and EASA and educational institutions as potential partners in the uh, strategic alliance, and the alliance has the potential to deliver cooperative innovation. The green aviation technology and artificial intelligence have the potential to allow for the restoration of a competitive edge. Not only was it a failure for the technological kind, but it was also a failure of the cultural, ethical, and in the institutional varieties. Using board research and development pipelines and governance that is based on environmental, social, and governance principle is one way to restore confidence in the market. This ensures that there will be long-term competitiveness on a global scale. Uh, Next slide will be talking about Sasinta.
Thank you, Rakib. I will discuss engineering of cultural trust and safety. Despite the fact that the 737 MAX crisis was caused by technical defect and bundle of software lost, the fate of Boeing may be linked back to the more deeply based cultural issue. The failure of executive of track action, close knit reporting tie, and ineffective governance all contribute to the version of maintain and technical problem investigation conduct by the FFA and EASA. Rival to the blind spot were interest into the system as result of the pressure the exit inside the business to develop on deadline rather than safety. In addition, the crisis was not just technical; it was also maybe managerial that cost. It change in the culture of leadership and intelligent ethical in all element of engineering, quality assurance, and communication should be the primary goals of any healing effort that is intended to the effective. Then I will discuss my next slide. Strategic recommendation. It is impactive the Boeing transmission from responsive government module to the prevent governancy module. Throughout the implementation of an integrated approach, the ISO 37000 process, ethically responsibility leadership will be strengthened. Forecasting and regulatory complements will be further added by AI-based safety system that comparable to those that are now being tested an Airbus. Resorting the confident may be accomplished by posting better tie with regulatory agency why the implementation or reliable share agency and collaborative infection. Then I will invite my friends Olmada will discuss our reference in our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Furthermore, our references are listed below, and further, our references are gotten from verifiable sources, verifiable paperwork, and verifiable websites, which the links are provided below for further references, if any. And today we have come to the end of our presentation. Thank you.